Hey everyone, Dylan with the HD Perspective here. Got the Mac Tools 90° 3/8 air impact wrench, model number AWA038B. Let's take a look. I've had this impact for a couple months now. I thought it was a good enough amount of time to get a good idea of how it works. I got the 3/8 because I wanted the clearance more than I wanted the torque of the 1/2 inch. And the 1/2 inch, it was just slightly more powerful anyways. You know, using a tool like this, I'm not too concerned about nut busting torque. I'm more concerned about getting in tight areas, stuff like that, bigger bolts. Anyways, comes in at around 14.5 inches long. The head is 2.5 inches wide, and then I guess it stands about 3 inches tall that way. Forward and reverse, well, it's got two kind of forward gears or torques, I guess, and then reverse is that way. I mounted this on the end of it, kind of comes in handy, especially using this in tight areas. Kind of hard to feather it, the trigger, sometimes it's kind of all or nothing, but it takes some getting used to. I think the biggest thing was trying to get used to where this thing will work. It doesn't always fit in the best, and honestly, like your regular pistol grip impact wrench will have a lot more power. I found too that if you put an extension on the end, it pretty much has no jam to it, so extensions don't really work unless you're just kind of doing some light stuff. There's a grease fitting here, gotta remember to keep that greased, and other than that, I'm actually fairly happy with this tool. I would say there are other tools that I would buy first, but if you've kind of got everything and you know you're looking at something to help you make your life easier, this is the thing to get. Here's kind of a side-by-side shot. You can see how it compares size-wise versus a regular 3/8 pistol grip impact. That one's an Ingersoll Rand. I believe Mac Tools made the same one for a number of years. One place that I found that this impact really works well is if you're doing a clutch on a big truck, pulling out those bell housing bolts, you know, underneath the cab and stuff like that. Sometimes it can be a real pain to get at. This seems to sneak in there pretty good and get those bolts out. You know, it's a 7/16 bolt usually on the standard kind of bell housing on an 18 speed. Here's one example of me taking out a bell housing bolt on a clutch job I think I was doing. You can see it's fairly tight, got a lot of lines and hoses, not a lot of clearance between the cab and the frame rails. I'll show you a clip here coming up on me using this tool. I use it for pulling out this Allison automatic transmission. I'm just pulling the drive line down in it. And you'll see kind of one of the shortcomings I found with it was it's hard to put forward pressure on the bolt that you're trying to take out. Like a pistol grip, you know, you can push right on the back of it, but this one, the leverage is kind of working against you, and you'll see that it kind of jumps off the bolt if you're not careful. So you can see it works pretty good. It's got some good snap to it. Like I said, it kind of jumps off the bolt if you're not holding on to it. Here I just snapped a quick picture. This really saved me a lot of time. I was changing PTO out on the bottom of the transmission, and just to get access you got to remove this cross member. And If it wasn't for this ratchet, I'd have to do it by hand. Basically, got a wrench in between the frame rail and the transmission, and then my little 90-degree impact snuck right in between the fuel tank and the frame rail, and I was able to zip these bolts up no problem. Here's another picture where it kind of come in handy. I would have been able to do this job without it for sure, but basically I was just changing the oil seal on the fuel injector pump on this ISX Cummins engine. It definitely comes in handy. I'll show you one more clip where it was really useful. Anytime you're working on the front of the engine, between the front of the engine and the rad, you usually can't get an impact in there, but this thing does. I was doing a water pump on a C15 cat engine, MXS. You'll have to excuse the sound of the water falling. I was draining the coolant into a bucket while I was taking it apart. Overall, I'm happy with my purchase. Like I said, there's other tools I would buy first, like a pistol grip 3/8, either cordless or air, depending on your application, what you need to use it for. But this is a definite nice addition to the toolbox. It's always good to have many different options at your disposal when you're trying to do a job. Sometimes they don't go so smoothly, so this is another avenue that you could take in order to get the job done. And it's a time saver too. Well, if you like this video, please hit thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with any experience that you might have with this or other similar tools that you found handy on the job. And I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.